County Commissioners to order on May the 2nd, 2023. Before we start, we'd like to have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And for a moment of silence, if you could stand, continue to stand for a minute. Anybody that's looked at the television, and we've had some terrible weather across the country, let's keep all those people and their situations are all different, but let's keep all their situations in our prayers for a moment. Thank you. Thank you very much. We have some meeting announcements. Time will be allotted at the end of each meeting for the commissioners to receive comments from the public. First up, we have four consent items. We have our regular session minutes of April 25th, 2023. We have our liquor minutes of April 25th, 2023. We have our public hearing minutes of April 25th, 2023. And we have our closed session minutes dated April 25th, 2023. Do I entertain a motion to approve those?
So moved.
I got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have a special Class C license, alcohol license, for Dogwood Festival of Galena for a beer, wine, and liquor license dated May the 13th, 2023. In order for us to approve these, we have to have a public hearing. We're going to assume that tonight is our public hearing. Anyone in the audience that would like to speak in favor or in opposition to this application, feel free to do so at this time. There being no comments, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the special Class C liquor license application for the Dogwood Festival of Galena.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Under departmental appointments, we have Carla Gerber, Deputy Director of Planning, and she's here to talk about the establishment of Kent County Agricultural Preservation Districts. Welcome, Carla.
Good evening. I am just here. We've had 10 landowners come forward who want to create agricultural land preservation districts, and I'm here to request that you schedule a public hearing for review of those applications.
Okay, we need a motion to go ahead and schedule a public hearing to review and approve 10 agricultural preservation districts. Do I have?
I'll make the motion to approve, or actually have the hearing to approve 10 agricultural preservation district applications.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Carla. Jillian Coleman, Director of Parks and Recreation, and is she here with us tonight? I'm sorry, for Kent Junior Wrestling Program, recognition of coaches and athletes.
Yes. So this is the great part about being the director of Kent County Parks and Rec. So we're here tonight to recognize the Kent County Junior Wrestling Program. I'd like to formally recognize the coaches and all the athletes that are out here for the program who give tirelessly of themselves for the benefit of the Kent Junior Wrestling Program. Without each of them, we likely would not have had the success that we have had over the years, and especially this season. This season, we had a record number of athletes who not only competed, but placed in the Future State Championship, Girls State Championship, and the state tournament. A huge thank you needs to go out to Donnie Yerke for building this program from the ground up and finding these marvelous volunteers. The participants who wrestle in this program have had nothing but the highest of praise for all of these coaches, who have gone above and beyond to make sure every kid in this program is successful. Last but not least, a huge thank you needs to go out to the parents their children to practice and tournaments and their dedication to the sport. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. I would like to, two things, call Donnie up to see if he has a few words that he would like to say, and then we have a little surprise for everybody that we can show.
I don't have a speech. I just want to thank every one of you. You don't know how much it means to me. I couldn't have done it without y'all. And I think, you know, we're going to get bigger and better each year, and it's just going to be great. I want to thank you guys for everything you do for us over the years, the mats, anything we need. You guys have always helped us. I'm truly grateful for that.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Our pleasure, and look, this has grown from years when we didn't think we were gonna have enough till now we got a huge group participating, and that's what it's all about. And
The next
a lot of
generation,
credit
I can see it.
goes to the coaches and Jill.
I
and-
might be 50 before we win a state title. But
50 ain't that old, Donnie.
I know.
And I tell you, you coaches, you certainly put your heart and soul in it.
Well, I just know, I remember Donnie was behind me in school, but I remember those guys, as you little guys out there. And then they were state champions, him, and there might be another one around here somewhere, or two. But it's been fun just following you guys. We cannot wait for the future. We cannot wait for the future. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So Jessica Plum, our program coordinator, she put together this short video of the future state champions, the girls' state tournament, and the state tournament winners and results. So we'd like to play this for you at this time, and this is the first time that it's been played in public.
Very good. Okay. Shelley,
Yes,
I've got one of each of these. Where are the rest of them, and how are they gonna be handed out?
they're being copied right now, so they will be finished shortly, right? And we're hoping that by the end of this ceremony, they'll be ready to be handed to the,
We have some certificates of recognition. One stack is for the coaches, and one stack is for the athletes. So I'm gonna read one of each. I'm not gonna mention any names, but then there's a list that will read aloud of all those that are receiving those certificates of recognition. First of all, the coaches, it reads, a certificate of recognition. This is proudly presented to the coach, whoever will be mentioned, for her or his service as a wrestling coach for the Kent County Junior Wrestling Team, and for taking the team's youth athletes to the MSWA Wrestling State Tournament in 2023. Such commitment and loyalty are admired and well respected by many of whom you have coached. We, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, thank you for your continued devotion, dedication, and public service to Kent County youth and the community. Signed, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, Ronald H. Fithian, President, Albert H. Nickerson, Member, and John F. Price, Member. And we will be handing them out just as soon as we get them all copied up here. Now, the second group will be the athletes, and there's a certificate of recognition for them, and it reads as follows. This is to certify that so-and-so is hereby recognized for his or her many years of practice and individual contribution to the Kent County Junior Wrestling Team. His contribution helped his team make it to the MSWA Wrestling State Tournament in 2023. Success isn't always about greatness, it's about consistency. The Rock. We, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland, are proud to recognize and honor the Kent County Junior Wrestling Team for their devotion, dedication, and endurance for the sport of wrestling. Signed, the County Commissioners of Kent County, Maryland. Again, Ronald H. Fithian, President, Albert H. Nickerson, Member, and John F. Price, Member, dated May the 2nd, 2023. And when we get these in here, we will have them all handed out.
What I would recommend you do is maybe read aloud all the names, and then by the time you get to the bottom, staff can give
That is a good
Jill the
suggestion.
certificates, and she can hand them out.
The
to each.
coaches that'll be recognized tonight will be, and if you're here, when I call your name, just stand up. Cody Bonwill, Arthur Kaler, Jacob Kerwin, Mike Menifee. Stay standing, Jacob. Just stand up. There you go.
He's used to being.
Samantha Reed, Brian Schaefer, Michael Schroem, Russell Smith, Dennis Staples, Donald Yerke, Chris Yanikis, and Emmanuel Zebatakis. Zebatakis, I guess it's. Sorry if I mess your name up.
We got one more, Joey Milburn.
Okay.
He was in the video.
Well, if he was in the video, he's got to stand up. That's for sure.
He was being pinned on that.
Well, listen, thank you all for the work you did. As it's spelled out in that certificate of recognition, you all are the heart of it. You make it work. And we, the county, thank you tremendously for all your hard work.
Thank you, guys.
So thank you.
Appreciate it.
Did we have the last coach that I didn't call his name? You might want to make sure he gets taken care of as well. Now, the athletes, and as I call your name, stand up. Rico Chapa, Carson Connor, oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, I'll take this too.
Adeline Davis, Parker Davis, Wilson Downs IV, Sean Duckery, Noel Farinassi, Trainer Farinassi, Michael Floyd, Jeremiah Heinfeld, Maximus Kaler, Colton Kerwin, Kinsley Kerwin, Caleb Melvin, Landon Merritt, Tatum Milburn, Tyler Phillips, Jace Reed, Riker Shaw, Holden Schaefer, Chase Schramm, Brennan Starkey, Hudson Wallace, Caleb Walker, Kylie Walker, and Skylar Yanakis. Congratulations, young ladies and gentlemen. Now,
It'll be up here, right?
If we could get, and maybe it'd be best, we usually take our pictures in front of that quilt, but that's not big enough. How about if we lined up here and take the picture from out there? All the coaches and athletes.
Jill has all the certificates, so if you want them to hold one up, she can sort of hand them out.
Move right on all the way over to the other side of the table there. There you go.
All right, everybody take a step forward so the coaches can get behind you. Step forward. Thank you. All right. You're gonna go right here. You're gonna go right here. Max Smith, this way. And here. Up. I'm gonna have to switch you. Sorry. This way. Right here. Just scoot in. Scoot in. We're gonna go right here. I'm going. All right, I need you guys to scoot in this way. Sorry.
Give it to mom, coach. Maybe you should be up there.
Yeah. Good. Sorry.
Is this gonna work?
Yep.
One's landing in the spot.
Huh? Hey, Jace, Colton.
Pay attention, look forward, guys.
All right. Ready? Perfect. Go ahead. It's a perfect. Wait, huh? Okay, get
Why
everybody.
don't you bring a couple of those,
Right here, guys.
and they will, or at least one, and they can hold it up in front of us.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Max, or Colton, yep. Ready? Everybody look here. Max, turn your head this way just a little bit. There you go. Couldn't see Riker's head. Opkins. All right, one more time. Everybody look here. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're good. Yeah.
Wait. Gotcha.
Oh, can you wrap that for me, Colton?
Thank you, young man. Good job.
Thank you all again, especially to the coaches for and Jill, thank you for putting
Yes,
it all
Jill.
together.
Thank you. Yep.
Very nice.
I think that should get another special round of applause.
Oh,
Yeah.
no doubt.
Thank you. And Jill's got all your recognitions, and she'll make sure everybody gets it. Thank you all.
Not our usual meeting.
Right, rough-looking group there, young fellows there it was, ladies and fellows.
That might have been the funnest thing I've done as a commissioner so far.
Exactly.
Yeah, and what we was dealing with a lot of it, some of the worst. Okay, we have with us Mr. Jim Miller is our Human Resources Director. Jim, it's all yours.
Good evening, thanks. That was a lot of fun. One of the kids, Tatum, was one of my students when I was substituting at the elementary school. And I didn't see him, and he came over, and his mother was like, "Leave that man alone." He was like, "No, that's my teacher."
How about that? Good for him.
Good kid. We had a lot of fun playing ball. He's a really good athlete. Anyway, you have before you a request to approve conditionally the hire of the candidate for Director of Emergency Services. By way of background, we had a really good response to the advertising, to the recruitment effort. We had 14 candidates. We did a pre-screening, something we've kind of started doing a little bit differently in the recruitment process. We pre-screened all 14. 3 of them we eliminated as not meeting the needs and the standards we established for the position. Of the 11, Wayne and I interviewed 8 of them, and Wayne and Jen White interviewed the other 3. It happened to be a day I wasn't here. Then Jen, Wayne, and I got together and went through the entire list of that 11, pared it down to what we believed were the top 3 candidates. We presented the top 3 candidates to Shelley, and with the recommendation that those 3 be brought back for second interviews with Shelley, President Fithian, Jen White, and myself. We didn't bring Wayne in for the second phase of interviews, primarily because we'd already established their operational credentials, and we focused the interviews on managerial skills, background, what I call instinct and institution, and instinct mostly for how to manage a larger department. Those 3 individuals came back, and we interviewed them, President Shelley, Jen and I, and we unanimously came to the conclusion that the candidate we brought before you today was the one that we would recommend hiring for the position.
You gonna entertain a motion to deal with this?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the recommended candidate, not at the proposed salary, but at a salary that's less than $20,000 that's been proposed, and make it a conditional offer for employment.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay? Thank you.
Is it okay if I make a comment at this point?
Absolutely.
I understand the concern about the salary. I would want to point out, as you gentlemen know, when I came on board, I talked at great length about internal equity, and my concern that to make sure that as we were bringing in candidates, we brought them in consistent with our ranges, but also consistent with what we were paying other individuals. This is a single incumbent position, so that makes it a little more challenging. However, what I did was look at the salaries of the other individuals that are all in single incumbent positions, but in the same grade as this one. And the recommendation, the salary that you saw in the recommendation, was based on ensuring internal equity amongst that leadership group.
Well, I'd like to respond to what you're saying here a little bit.
Yes, sir.
There's no doubt. I could have told you that this particular individual was going to be the #1 candidate to begin with.
Sure.
This individual is very qualified. He has a great deal of experience in leadership roles. I'm very confident that he's going to do a very good job if he decides to take the position. But the salary that I suggested in my motion is one that I think is adequate, and I understand your concern, Jim. But that's not what we were paying the other person.
No, sir.
And maybe there's good reasons for that, but the salary that was proposed, I just felt was a little too hefty,
Understand.
especially when there's no travel involved. And this particular candidate lives with almost in walking distance.
Certainly, it was certainly a consideration when I came on board. You know, the commute was,
You're a
Nice.
little longer walk.
trust me, it's not a walk I could do. But yeah, I respect that. The other consideration may be the total compensation package. And when I speak of total compensation, in my world, that's salary plus the cost of fringe benefits. We don't know for a fact. It didn't come up during a conversation,
There's a
but
$20,000 difference, I know.
yeah, easily, probably in the neighborhood of 27,000 on top. So if it turns out that this individual declines the offer, were we to find another qualified candidate between salary and benefits, that total comp package that I described, it would probably cost us more money than what this candidate likely will cost us. So, my responsibility is to bring forth all the best information that I can bring forth.
Appreciate that, but if that's the case, that's a decision that this candidate will have to make, and I guess we'll have to start over.
Understood. Okay. Again, my responsibility to all of you is to bring forth the best candidates we could find and bring you the best information we can about that.
Very
I think
good.
you did, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Before you leave, Jim, last year, the commissioners decided to allow the hiring process to move forward on seasonal hires without every lifeguard, camp counselor coming before you for approval. Would you
Right.
like to talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, thank you. I wasn't here for that last year, but the commissioners agreed to waive the requirement of bringing all the seasonal temporaries before you all to approve the hiring or the conditional hiring. As it turns out, the motion at the time was specific to last year. I would ask that you would extend that at least to this year and perhaps going forward so that we have the opportunity to source and hire candidates quickly. As came up earlier today, we are struggling a bit with finding lifeguards, and we need them for the seasonal work. If we lose a week or so in process, by the time we get the candidates before the three of you, we're at risk of losing them to other summer employment. We'd like to try to avoid that. So I would ask for your consideration of giving us the latitude to make those hiring decisions between the department, Jill's department, and Human Resources.
I'll make the motion to allow you to continue to do that for at least the next 3.5 years.
I like that motion.
Second that motion.
All right, I got a motion, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Uh-huh.
Have a good evening.
By the, before, are we making any headway on our, we still need some more lifeguards?
We still need some more.
Yeah.
Jen was making phone calls today, Jill was making phone calls today. It's interesting with some of the students, we reach out and we end up getting responses back from their parents instead of the kids directly. And then the communication goes from us to the student to the mom to us, and there's this kind of three-ring circle that goes on. So we're trying to get beyond some of that. They're, between Jill and Jen, they're just working really hard. They're busting it to try to get this to work.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Jim, if you don't mind,
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give you a call, maybe sometime tomorrow, if you're gonna be around.
Yeah, absolutely,
I'd like to schedule a time to come in and sit down with you for a minute.
absolutely. Whatever's convenient for you, I'll be here.
All right. Shelley, County
Okay.
Administrator Report.
And I literally have 2 items to report out, no action necessary. The first of which is an addendum to the MOU that was signed originally between Caroline County, Kent County, Talbot County, and Delmarva Community Services Incorporated on February 28th. It was effective February 28th, 2005, and the term extended through June 30th, 2008. The original MOU established an umbrella agreement for DCS or a subsidiary of them, Delmarva Community Transit, DCT, to provide our transportation here in the county. The second amendment, the first amendment amended minor terms and conditions years ago. Second amendment, which is the one on the agenda tonight, simply establishes that DCT is the designated transportation agency until the agreement is dissolved officially in some way. So it's just extending the original agreement to make them officially our transportation agency.
For
And-
how long? For
Until it's canceled, until it's terminated.
either party can cancel?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I was actually gonna ask that we postpone this until after our meeting with them about what transportation issues we may be looking at.
Basically, this allows them to apply for funding
Okay.
on our behalf for next year. So, and we've been operating outside of an agreement for a number of years now, so this just kind of writes it, but it can be canceled at any time.
Very good.
The second item that I have for you is simply an announcement. Officially on the agenda, it's called the Upper Shore Community Mental Health Center Strategic Planning Work Group. This is a work group of stakeholders from several of our adjoining neighboring jurisdictions, as well as Kent County and the Kent County Health Department, to establish what the vision is for the vacated spaces, the current vacant spaces next to the Whitsitt Center. So the official title for that building is Upper Shore Community Mental Health Center. The Whitsitt Center is what we commonly refer to it as. There are some empty spaces, what's the vision, and then whatever comes out of this discussion, which is this Friday, this room at 10 a.m., that information will be relayed to the state requesting that, the state look into maybe getting providers in to,
So that meeting is Friday at 10 o'clock?
correct,
I got you.
right.
I knew we had one coming up, I couldn't
Yes.
exactly remember when.
So, and 2 or more of you have indicated interest in joining that meeting, which is why it's on the agenda.
Okay. And then we have some letters for signature, which we don't need to read. And then we have public comment, media review.
I would like to talk about the one letter going to Andy Glenn, the president of the Rock Hall Fire Company. The county has done this actually previously. And if there is a vehicle that is available, I think we should offer it up. And if you could let Mike Moulds know,
Okay. Well,
as long as everyone feels the same way. I
Now,
mean,
we've,
instead of turning it into enterprise. So what we usually do in situations like this is we'll let folks, bid on it so that it's not, we're not directing, we're not favoring one company over another, basically.
well, that's okay, but I would prefer that, and I know that the county has done this because we've actually turned over sheriff's office vehicles for free. They didn't have to bid on them because they were providing a good service for the county. So if there's something available that Rock Hall or any fire company feels that they could use, and if we don't really have any more use for it, I'm not really talking about a lease vehicle, I'm talking about a vehicle that is already county owned.
Right. So what we've been doing is turning in anything that has any value to Enterprise, because Enterprise can generally get a better price than we can locally. So they send it to an auction, and depending on what the item is, they'll send it to an auction that will generally get us the most bang for the buck in that location, that part of the country.
In this case, though, we can, if we have one that is, that can be used as a chase unit, just let us know, and we may decide to just give it to Rockall
Okay.
Volunteer Fire Company. And we have done it in the past, and
Chestertown.
they're actually working on their behalf, so if we can, anytime we can help them, I want to do it as well. Okay. Time for public comment, media review. Is there any sign sheet there?
I think Richard had signed earlier today, so he is not here, so I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The only one here is Mayor David Foster.
Thank you. I understand you've all had a very long day, and I'll try to keep this short. First, I really want to thank you for your contribution to the Chestertown Tea Party Festival for Wi-Fi. That's a very important element of that, so that the vendors can access Wi-Fi there, and it really is greatly appreciated, and we thank you. I understood from the note that Shelley had sent that you had some additional questions on the process that I had followed in getting a proposal for the tax differential study. We did get two proposals in, huge difference in price. First one was under $10,000, and the second one was about 3 times that.
Three times that one?
It's about $29,000. In addition to that, I went back to the person who had done the study originally for Mayor Bailey. He had left the University of Maryland. He was then with Baltimore for a number of years. I contacted him there. He was too busy. This was a few years ago. Then since learned that he has retired, but no longer doing this work. I also sent back to the Institute for Government Service at the University of Maryland, where Mr. Tervala, who had done that study back in '97, had previously worked. And after several weeks' correspondence back and forth on that, they were not able to find someone else who could do this. So we do have 2 bids there. You had also asked in terms of what sort of materials I had provided. One was a copy of that study that had been done in '97. Another was a copy, I'm sure you have, of the property tax set-offs for 2022. And the other one, give you, not sure you have a copy of this. This was done back in 1991. But it basically was a kind of the standard process that University of Maryland was recommending. They had an Institute for Government Service there, and I've gone to Annapolis and looked through their archives, Department of Legislative Services, and I'd say fully half or more of the analysts who looked at a variety of towns all over the state have followed that basic format. There's nothing required about it, but they lay out 2 standard procedures there. And the most common procedure is for people to look at both procedures, and then they encourage people to then to discuss the results. And the results often come out a little bit differently. And that's also the process on it. I can, if you feel it is critical for me to, again, do a search for yet a third applicant or consultant on this. I've already invested quite a bit of time in looking for that. I think that what we have been offered by Mr. Spreen is, I say 9,500. That would be only if all 5 towns took advantage of the opportunity. Currently, it looks like it will just be 4. And Betterton has decided that, given their situation with no police, with such a very small town, very few roads, that they got a pretty good deal going right now. And so they may change their mind at some point. But right now, we have 4 towns that are fully committed to this. Chestertown would be paying by far the most, Rock Hall second, and then Millington and Galena. If you share the cost with them, it would just be $400 apiece for that. But I need you to decide whether you want me to invest more time in going out. My concern is, again, it took several weeks to get back a response from the University of Maryland the second time around. And by the time I got yet a third proposal in, we might be past your budget cycle, and so I'm concerned about that. But I do think that we've got a pretty good bargain in this offer from this young professor at Maryland. So I'm happy to follow this however you want me to do.
Well, I appreciate what you've done so far. You did exactly pretty much what we asked you to do. But there's no sense in really, in my opinion, as one of the 3 commissioners here, there's no sense engaging in any more conversation about this at this stage of the game, because we are in such financial scrapes here. I mean, we spent all day today, and we're still $3 million in the hole. And not that it can't be looked at some other point, but to do it now and to spend taxpayer money to do it now would be, in my opinion, wrong. I'm not saying that we can't do it if we have a brighter light down the road financially. But right now, if you've been watching our budget process, I'm sure you have, because, you know, it's not gonna happen right now. We just don't want to waste a dime, and not that it would be wasting it probably, but that was probably a very poor choice of words. But even if we could afford to do something, I don't even know what it would be, and right now, I don't think we can.
Okay. Just so we're clear on this, your cost would be under $5,000.
That's still $5,000 of
And
taxpayer money.
the
that
question I think
I'm not
that
waiting to
your
spend.
constituents will ask, if not now, when?
You know, I have to call you on this a little bit, and I mean it with all respect due to you. And we talked about this one other time. This was an election issue that you and Mr. Hers brought up to the citizens. I was around this county a lot. I'm still around this county a lot. And I have to tell you, if you don't live on Queen Street or you don't live on Water Street, nobody's talking about it. I have not heard a word from a Chestertown citizen in College Heights, Byford Heights, Foxley Manor, Washington Park. I've heard Mayor Jacobs talk about it in Rock Hall, but she's the only one.
It is interesting that both the previous mayor and the mayor-elect from Rock Hall believe this is important. The mayor of Galena believes this is important, and the mayor of Millington believe this is important.
Well, I would suggest.
Last I checked, they don't live on Water Street or
No,
Queen
but
Street.
Water Street and Queen Street, and you and Tom Hers are the ones pushing this initiative.
That, we are. I make no apology for that.
Well-
Give me just a moment, if I may.
I resent the fact that you come in here knowing that we're in such a financial burden here, and yet you want us to below $5,000. If you, the town, and any other town wants this study done, then you all pay for it.
That's fine. We paid for it 25 years
It's time to
ago.
stop the games. It's time to stop the games. You're playing games.
Commissioner Price,
With
I'm
all
not,
due respect, Mayor, you're playing games. It's time to stop.
Commissioner Price,
If you want this study, you pay for it. I don't know how my colleagues feel.
well, frankly, sir, I'm very disappointed that you
I'm
say I'm,
disappointed in
no,
you as well.
wait a minute, that you say that I'm playing games?
You're playing games. You've been playing games all along, and it's time to stop. I don't want an adversarial situation, but I've been around too long, and you have too. I can see when somebody's playing games. And you're trying to make this a political issue, and to me, it's not. You moved here, a lot of these other citizens who were crying about this moved here because they liked it. They came from other areas, and I'm glad to have them here. But now they're here, they want to change it. It was like this when they came. And I think I
Bryce,
said enough.
I'm not quite sure what's changed since I sat here a few weeks ago and you said, please go
Because
out and find us
You're
someone.
too persistent with it. You have your own personal agenda. I told you before, you have a police department because you want one. If you don't want the $1.2 million that you're spending on your police, do away with it. That'll save you $1.2 million right there.
I'm
It's not
amazed.
my fault that someone misgoverned the financial status of Chestertown with a marina. Because that's what happened. And Kent County citizens broadly, the entire county should not have to pay for it.
I don't think any of us are asking to be bailed out because of the marina.
You're beating a dead horse.
Well, Dave, our Mayor Foster, look, you know I've been against it from day one.
I know that,
I've been very
and I
clear about it.
appreciated your candor.
And, you know, it's been tried in court, and you were a part of, Chestertown was a part of that court procedure. You didn't make out too good there. You didn't make out too good making it a political issue during an election. And my whole thing has been that you, as the mayor and council of Chestertown, have the same tools available to you to run Chestertown as we do available to us to run the county. And I just suggest you use them. And I'm not gonna vote to move forward with this, because I think, obviously, knowing that we don't have the money to do it to start with, I'm not asking you to waste even if it's only $5,000, I'm not gonna ask you to waste it, or I'm not gonna ask you to pay for any of it, knowing that we can't afford to do it, even no matter what is said. And I've still, to this day, will say, if you look at what the county does for the towns in this county, I think the study should come back that you owe us money, but I'm not even advocating that. But there's an enormous amount of things that this county does to benefit the towns, and it's been that way for years. It's been that way as long as I can remember, and I'm not interested in changing it. So that's me as well. Thank you for your interest.
All right. Sir, I'm concerned here. Just a few months ago, we had two commissioners. You've been straight up with me. You opposed this. There were two other commissioners.
I'll speak to that. You're gonna go over the same thing that you went over before. And I can speak for myself on that, because I did say that, you know, when the survey was presented, we'd try to figure things out, and if there was a set-off or a disparaging number, that we, you know, try to work together. And my words were, give it back to the taxpayer, not to the town.
That's all I've asked.
And and I'm learning a lot here, Mayor Foster, particularly through this budget session. And unfortunately, no matter what the survey, well, two things, I'm gonna back up a little bit. The survey, depending on how the survey is done, I think is gonna make a big difference in, I think we could get two different surveys done, and we could have numbers like this after doing a little bit of research and looking at the proposal that you presented us with. But no matter where those numbers shake out, we don't have the money. I mean, the citizens of Kent County don't have the money. And I would agree with Commissioner Price on certainly from what I've heard throughout the county, is, you know, there's some people that it's a hot button topic with, but the majority of the people that I come in contact with in Rock Hall or in Chestertown, you know, I just had one in Rock Hall tell me the other day, he said, you know, it's been like this forever. It's the way it's gonna be, it's the way it's gotta be. And so that made me feel better. I gotta tell you. You know, there's no way, if we spent $1,000 this year on this survey, and they came back, and there's just no way that the county can financially do anything. We can't. I mean, it's just, we don't have the money. We're $3 million short right now.
I recognize that. And I recognize you don't have the money this year, probably not next year. At some point, you're going to be raising taxes on all of us. I recognize that as well, and I think you do. One possibility is when you do that, if you have clear facts in front of you, everybody has a right to their own opinion, but I'm one who believes that there is one set of facts once we open this all up. Other towns have done.
I honestly don't believe that. I think
But
it
why are we
depends on-
afraid to look?
I mean, just
Why?
like,
We're not afraid to look. It's the fact that we're wasting taxpayer money to look, when we know we can't do anything with it to begin with.
Let me share one brief story. I'll be gone, okay? When I first got in public office, I was trying to focus in terms of the future, and I found that there were two historical issues, major issues in Chestertown, both of them, curiously, about 40 years old. One of them had to do with an oil spill in Chestertown, and it had been hidden away from the public. It was a major, major issue. Not only had we developed a serious environmental problem, but we had a loss of public confidence in the people who were handling it. We had a loss in confidence in our own hospital. This was a major issue. We went into that. We pushed for better monitoring. We pushed for a new round of consultants. We pushed for MDE. Out of that came some transparency. Out of that came a restoration of public confidence in the process. After that, we were writing letters of support to the hospital. I noticed just today that $20 million was approved. We were one of the people who advocated for that. At one point, Ken Kozel and I were at loggerheads. After we brought transparency into the process, after we looked at that study, we both realized there was a way forward. And I'm so pleased that we did that. And that was my hope here. And I'm just sorry that you have rejected even the thought of looking at it. In particular, Commissioner Price, you know better than anyone else what our police department does for the public safety in that area. And they've developed a wonderful relationship with your successor and with you, and I appreciate that.
There is a good relationship, but it's something that you have because you want it, because you want control. Yes, control. That's how police chiefs operate. They work for the mayor and council. Sheriffs don't. They answer to the people. And as a police chief, he does exactly what you want him to do, or her. I know how it operates. I've seen it too much. And I'm not saying for 1 minute that maybe you're operating in that way, but you have a police department because you want one.
We do.
And if you don't want one, the sheriff's office and the Maryland State Police will cover your town.
Do you realize how much extra that would cost you?
Well, I guess we'll
You're
find
talking
out
about
if
saving
you-
money. I suspect that
I'm trying to help you save money, $1 million too.
Wait a minute. If we were to abolish our police force, as you're suggesting right now we have 9 police officers. We have 1 person in training, okay? If you were to replace those people, even half of them with sheriff deputies.
We have an obligation to provide public safety.
I know.
And That's not an obligation that you technically have, although if you want to, you
I
can.
recognize that. So if you suggest that we abolish our
It's your
police force,
decision, it's not mine.
well, you're suggesting we have an alternative.
Listen, we don't have anything to do with whether you have a police department or not, and we're not, and please don't insinuate that we're telling you that. It's your decision.
We're happy to have
I
a police
had
force.
this I had this conversation once. Being a mayor or being a county commissioner is not always a great job.
I
And it's,
recognize
you gotta call, sometimes you have to make some decisions. All I'm saying is you have the same tools available to you that we have available to us. And we have to start using them.
Especially in these times.
If I can finish the one bit about the police, if we were to abolish our police force, you recognize you would be picking up an additional cost of a minimum of $500,000 at a time that you're desperately
How much?
short of money.
500?
A minimum,
That is a very minimal cost.
yeah.
But we're not insinuating that. That's entirely Mayor Foster and the
it's-
council's
It's not
decision.
your intention to do that either.
I hope we don't have to.
I hope you don't either. And I've told you that.
So I thank you for your time. I'm really concerned as to why the attitudes have changed. I'm not quite sure what I have done in the last 2
Wrong
months.
time. It's the wrong time, and you know it.
We all knew from our calendars this was going to be May by now. We knew it was going to be your budget cycle. Anybody who had looked at your budget in the past knew this was going to be a challenge.
It's always
5,000,
probably going to be a challenge, but this is definitely the wrong time. With the blueprint and everything else that
do
we're
you want me to
facing,
come back next year?
you certainly are welcome to if you want to. Look, I haven't changed that I'm willing to consider a study at some point.
Commissioner, 2 months ago, you weren't accusing me of playing games. I'm really
No, but-
disappointed at
No,
that.
but you have been, in my opinion, and I'm sorry if you take offense to that.
I do.
Well, you
I
know,
would never say
last
that
time
you all
were
are
here-
playing games. I don't know why you're saying this
Last time
about
you were
me.
here, I took offense to what you said, that I need to maybe think about making decisions on how many votes I'm gonna get. I really don't care how many votes I get next time, if I run. I'm here to make decisions for the next 3.5 years.
I think all of us are. I really do.
And sometimes they're not easy.
They're not easy to
This
say.
is not easy to see. Mr. Foster, this is not, I mean, I can tell you, sitting here for myself, sitting here the last 3 weeks that we've been doing these
It is
budgets.
rough. I know that.
I mean.
I know that.
And this is.
I don't envy you,
and this
not a
is-
one.
This is one of the decisions that.
The one
I-
thing is, I don't think you're playing games.
well,
I really don't.
But I mean, so for me, I don't think that if we did it this year, it would do us any bit of good at all.
The one thing it would do, and I'll go back to my issue about the oil spill from the hospital, it would provide transparency. It would avoid the situation of people saying, oh, no, we're doing so much more for the town than anybody else.
Do
We
you
could get the
hear that?
facts out.
Do you hear that?
Pardon?
You said we're doing so much more for the, I mean,
Yes, Commissioner Fithian said that he thinks the facts are that Chestertown is getting a great deal.
I think the entire county's
County,
getting a
right.
good deal because we've got a lot of services that we provide that no one else has to. I got one example, you want to use the hospital. We're getting ready to spend $2.7 million putting a water treatment facility on an old dump site out to Nicholson, of which if you toot the horn that you got 40% of the population, I can only assume that Chestertown did 40% of the damage out there when that was a burn pile, and everybody took their trash out there for free. I don't see anybody, I haven't gotten a letter yet that we're willing, from a town saying, oh, we want to pay our fair share of that $2.7 million. That's the kind of services that goes unnoticed, but we're stuck with it. And we're gonna do our part and we're gonna make it work. But as has been pointed out, you can take that and the Kerwin and the lack of growth in this county, and we couldn't afford to help you if we wanted to.
I don't know where the 40% figure came, we're a little over
Well,
5,000.
I thought you said one time that you had 40% of the population lived in Chestertown.
Again, the facts, we have 5,800 people and you have 19,000
Okay,
in the county.
25% then, let's say 25%, but regardless, you're not gonna pay 25% of the cleanup of Nicholson landfill.
I think ultimately you're having the county, you all have the numbers. I'm not going to argue with those.
That's just one example.
Okay, the one thing I'm asking.
I think the EMS paramedic program the county provides to all the seniors and citizens of Kent County, I think those kind of things, there's numerous things that the county provides, and it doesn't cost the town a
Then
dime.
fine, why not go out through the study? Let's take, if you want me to do the study
Mr.
and
Foster,
me to
we've
pay for
beat
it.
it to death now. We're not gonna do it. Thank you.
And my question, if I were to find other people to pay for the study, would you read it?
I already told you, if you got somebody to pay for the study,
I will absolutely
ahead.
read it, but again, Mr.
I'm not
Foster,
gonna spend county tax dollars to the tune of $5,000 to help you with
You
that
you
at
know
this
that
point.
cost is
At
far
this
lower
point.
than you anticipated.
Huh?
we didn't,
know that
well,
fi-
I for one didn't anticipate anything. So
What was that comment? I'm sorry.
he said it was far lower than you anticipated.
The 5,000.
Oh,
5,000.
I was happy that it was only 5,000,
Right.
but I mean, that's only one study, and like Albert just pointed out,
If you know you're not gonna move forward with this after you get the study, and we know we don't have the money to move forward anyhow.
I mean, I do
Then it's a
understand-
waste if it was only $5. It's, if you
That's
know you're
what I
not gonna
understand.
use
But
it.
you're telling me, even if I found somebody else to pay for it, would you even look at it?
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
You didn't look at Margot Bailey's study.
who didn't look
I
at
don't
it?
even remember her
I
sending
know.
us one.
I
I
know.
thought you sent us all those,
I know.
those two studies. I
Did-
looked at them.
Did you?
I did.
Okay, well, thank you, I appreciate that. Okay,
I saw the one for 10,000, I saw the one for 29.
9,000. I appreciate your time. I'm sorry that this has turned adversarial.
But
I
it
don't
doesn't
think,
have to be adversarial. You know, and I have to say to you, look, if I offended you, I apologize. But this is very, very frustrating to me because you know the situation that we're in, and this is all I'm gonna say on this. You know the situation that a lot of counties are in because of the blueprint and some other things. And to come in here and think that we're able to do something in this particular budget year, you know, I appreciate what you're
you
trying to do
know
for
that I
your
never
constituents.
asked for money for Chestertown and this thing? I asked for a study.
The
and-
money is not there to do the study.
Okay. I thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to have a comment? Then I need a